What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. Nick Cannon. His name has become synonymous with a gaggle of children, right? He started out Nickelodeon. He was a child star, blew up, became, known for hosting gigs and starting Wild 'N Out, entrepreneur. Then he got married to Mariah Carey, and unfortunately, their marriage didn't last. But after that, then he just started getting with all these different women and fathering all these different babies outside of wedlock, unfortunately. And, you know, he's been very open about his, lupus diagnosis. So I hope that, he is on his healing journey, both physically and emotionally. But I find it interesting what he says about why his marriage ended to Mariah Carey. I'll let you guys hear in his own words on his podcast, and then I will give my thoughts afterwards.
Got married in my 20s still, you know what I mean, to the biggest star in the world. My trajectory was here, and then hers, she's already in a different stratosphere. I would lay up at night thinking, like, is this who I am? Am I Mariah's man? Is that what my life is supposed to be? There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm like, this ain't the version of yourself. And then when you have children, your man shit is like, wait, I'm carrying a purse, the diaper bag, I'm standing on the corner. She rocking being all the alpha that she is. By the way, she deserves it. I believe she needs a dude like that. Yeah. I'm just not that dude. Her and I never had problems. Yeah. Never argued, never, even with me struggling in this space. Yeah. She's so understanding and so evolved and lives in her own world. That's the thing. When someone has their own world and you got to be a participant in that, you know what I mean? Like I'm a main character. It was like muscle atrophy. I'm not being the dude that God put me on this earth to be. The love kept me there. Even, made it work so well because I was like, oh, you need somebody. You need a support system. You need somebody that don't want you for your money. You need somebody that's sincere. You need somebody that's willing to build a family and raise some, amazing kids together. And that was my goal. But then there was just something constantly in me like, I got it. The man.
Okay, so, wow. He lost his wife, his family, Mariah Carey, like he said, one of the biggest stars in the world, because, in my opinion, essentially, he felt insecure by her success. They never had any problems, they never argued, but that sounded like a very personal problem or issue that he was having in regards to how he viewed himself, how he viewed being a man, how he viewed masculinity. Because right after he got with Mariah, like I said earlier, he went out and just began, creating all these broken homes, essentially. I don't know if that's what makes him feel like a man. None of these women are as successful as he is, right? So perhaps that is. I mean, listen, it takes a really secure person to be with someone who is more successful, but that's ultimately a privilege, right? I think about Kamala Harris and her husband, and Doug Imhoff, and on Saturday Night Live, of course they spoof the politicians, but they were saying, oh, well, Andy Samberg is the one that's playing Doug Imhoff. And he was saying, oh, well, people say that I'm a beta male and all this stuff. That's not necessarily true. In my opinion, I feel like, he is there for her when she has to go out and face the world, right? He could have been a really loving partner to Mariah Carey. He could have been her soft place to fall. If you guys know anything about Mariah's story, and I touched on it a little bit because her mother and her sister passed away recently on the same day. So that's devastating. But her upbringing was extremely rough. She did not have a supportive family. Her mother was essentially jealous of her. Her mom was an opera singer, but Mariah talks about it in her book. Her sister, I mean, gave her illegal substances and tried to put her on a corner, essentially. Um, she didn't have people that she could depend on. She didn't have that. And even her first marriage to Tommy Mottola was not good, right? In her own words. I mean, just breaking away from him, she created her album, The Emancipation of Mimi, right after. So she wanted to be with Nick for love, for support. And it's unfortunate that he wasn't able to give that to her because I mean, you can't buy love. You know what it reminds me of? You guys remember that that movie that he was in opposite of Christina Milian, Love Don't Cost a Thing? I feel like he stepped into that character, unfortunately, in real life. If you guys remember, he essentially hired Christina Milian to help him be more popular. He was really insecure. He was the insecure, nerdy guy. Maybe he believed that that's who he was, and he couldn't stand 10 toes down being a husband of Mariah Carey. Like he felt like he was in her shadow. I guess similarly to how he was, intimidated by Christina Milian and her popularity. He helped, hired her to help him become more popular. Because the truth of the matter is, Nick Cannon, for all intents and purposes, when he was with Mariah Carey, I mean, he had his own money. He was an entrepreneur. He was very successful. He was hosting um, America's Got Talent. Maybe that was after they broke up, but like Wildin' Out, like he was on Nickelodeon. He had done Drumline and all these successful things that he did before getting with Mariah Carey. Mariah's not going to marry a bum, right? That was his own issue, his own feelings of insecurity. And I really wish that they would have gone to therapy, or just Nick maybe by himself, but he would have gone to therapy and unpacked that. Because what happened was, you know, his twins, you know, Morocco and Monroe, they lost their father in the home, right, with their mother. And then he went out and impregnated all these different women. I mean, there's no way that he could be a present father in the lives of all of his children. And children need both parents. I know that, people say that they don't, but take it from somebody who did not have both parents in the home. Um, if you ask any child, who none of us choose to be here, right? We're brought into this world. But I mean, children need both mother and father in the home, which is why it takes two to create a child. But yeah, it makes me sad because he could have, if he would have been able to work through his own personal issues with manhood and masculinity and, his own insecurities, he could have been that rock for Mariah. He could have showed his twins how to, be a supportive husband and father and a present, right? To be present in the home instead of doing the complete opposite, doing a complete 180 and going out and getting with this woman and that woman and creating all these different, children who again won't have a present father or, for guidance and leadership in their lives. He may support them financially, but money, again, it cannot buy you love. It cannot buy you guidance and wisdom and all these things that he could essentially pour into in these children. And again, these children didn't ask to be here. He had twins with his wife. Great, let's focus on that. That would have been plenty. Him holding Mariah's what did he say, diaper bag or purse or whatever. If you ask any husband worth their salt, that's not a big deal. The diaper bag is for your children. You know what I mean? And truth be told, if he really, had an issue, and if it was like that bad, I'm sure they had the resources. They could have hired someone like a nanny or somebody, to step in if he had X, Y, and Z to do. You know what I mean? Like they could have made it work. Money allows you, just it affords so much, right? When it comes to additional help and extra time and, things like that. So, in my opinion, I feel like he self sabotaged. There was possibly like a self worth issue. Maybe he didn't feel worthy enough. Because he had that, like that. I remember he had that huge Mariah tattoo on his back that he is now gotten covered with a cross, I think. But he definitely went out and, got with women that can't touch Mariah with a 10-foot pole in terms of success. But, you know, if he would have matured a little bit and if he would have stayed it, stuck it out, especially since he said that they didn't have problems or arguments, I feel like they could have, grown together and been a wonderful example of what, a marriage can mature into if two people love each other. But those are my thoughts. What are yours? What do you guys think about what Nick said in regards to why his marriage ended with Mariah? That it's sad, really. But I guess he did what he felt he had to do. Drop down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.